Howdy everybody, welcome back to the Cast Gaming Channel. James here once again, and I've got another Napoleonic Total War 3 mod replay for you guys today. It's going to be 4v4 on Jena, so it's going to be a historical map today. And before we go ahead and get into this replay, I just want to remind everybody I am sponsoring a Napoleonic Total War 3 tournament. It's going to be a 4v4 tournament. And I'd like to get about 6 to 10 teams together as quick as I can. And when I do that, I'll go ahead and get the tournament started. First prize is going to be $100. And I'd also like to interview the winning team. So if you're interested in that, or you'd like to submit any replays to be on the channel, go ahead and go to the link for my Discord channel in the description box below. You can also email me at TheCastGamingChannel@gmail.com. It's also listed in the description box below. So with that, let's go ahead and get started here for the coalition today. It's going to be Russia as the first core army. It's going to be Saxony as core army number 2. Gorchechkov is going to be the third core army today for the coalition. And then let's see if we can find the last one. Hohenlohe is going to be core number 4 for the Prussian army today. The Imperials is just going to be the Grand Armée. I wish they would give you a little bit more information. It looks like we've got Lanz here, followed by Murat, Soult, and Ney. So I have played this map before. I do enjoy this map. I've only ever played it on the side that the Imperials are, and I recommend, if you are the Imperials, or at least my initial thought was, to go around this right side flank, have one army go around this right side flank all the way to hit any army that might be defending the center area. Unfortunately, it looks like Russia pulled back from the center area, and I kind of think that's a mistake. They should have gotten their guys in line at the beginning of that, because they're not going to have any better ground than this line. Once you get over the crest of this hill, you are no longer have the height advantage. But as I was saying, if you're going to be the Imperials, I recommend maybe sending an army and a half, maybe 2 armies into the center, and then having a left army flank around the other side to distract any reinforcing armies from the coalition. And also, if you're staying in this center section as the coalition, you have a reinforcing army. Their attention is going to be solely focused on this center section, while you can outflank them on the right, hit them on this side here, on this right side, and kind of sandwich them in between 2 armies. While the left flank has options, it can either it can rejoin the center if need be. I don't recommend that. It's more of like a distracting force, a delaying force, so that the armies in the center can outflank and defeat the guys in the center. But what I don't like to see here is Russia actually started out at this house section here. They brought Murat, which is a cavalry corps, or the French have brought Murat, which is a cavalry corps. And if you have a bunch of squareable infantry in the center here, especially with some artillery, you could have done some devastating damage to these cavalry units, especially with these houses here in the center. So I'm actually extremely surprised that Russia fell back from this position, because you're not going to have a better defensive position. You've also got this forested area to fall back to protect you from cavalry charges as well. But the big thing, as I mentioned earlier, is that once you get to the crest of this hill, as some cannonballs fly by here, you're in a terrible defensive position as the coalition. You're on the wrong side of the hill. And my biggest peeve about this is that you just retreated your army here without a fight, giving up the ground, and I'm not sure how well that's going to work in your favor. Yes, you do have a little bit of a hill on the other side here, but your elevation is a little bit lower. And yeah, you're protected against Cavalry charges. That is true, and they may be able to get some good artillery hits on the cav here, but they're just going to be on a disadvantage for most of this fight. The army, basically this map, the LOC, if you're planning on taking it, is centered around this position right here. We're at the lower elevation. Yes, you get the house, and there is another village here with a little bit of a, let's say, creek that runs through the towns here. But it's not very big. It's not like a river. It will slow down cav charges and troops, but not as much as you would probably like. Also, if you are the Imperial faction, you've got this forest you can fight in. Yeah, it's against a little bit of an elevation, as you can see, but you still get some protection on the side. Also, I mean, there's more forest here. So it's just not, in my opinion, it's not the ideal situation for the coalition to just retreat immediately from the hill. Looks like France has opted to move to the left flank here against Russia. Russia's going in for a charge on some out of position infantry here. Looks like it did a good job with the charge. I'm not sure they're going to be able to rout the infantry. It's going to be difficult for this infantry to get into the house, especially with Russia's got some good melee. He just kind of stopped here. He's able to form square, so good on him, but Russia's following up some infantry, and they'll probably get that unit to rout. So I guess Coalition's plan is just to kind of hold the ground on this side, I guess, try and win the LOC best as they can. But the other thing is, Coalition could outflank France on this right side here, actually, if they really wanted to. They could take a lot of their cav, they could take this reinforcing army, they could have Saxony shift over to the right side. Prussia could shift over, take actually this house position where the forest is at, and then have Russia go to the side of France, which would actually be really good right now, since France is trying to form up, and Russia already has some infantry ready to go here. You've also got this good cav mass against whatever France has to offer on this side. Not to mention, if Prussia moved up into the center section, they'd also be able to link up with Russia if this is going to be their final defensive position. So you'd be excellent. You know, you'd have 1.5 armies to overwhelm this French faction while still being able to support your allies on the left. And if I was France right now, I'd be taking Murat's corps over to this left flank to support my ally. It's gonna be it may not be the worst, but it's not advantageous to run your troops through this creek area, especially with this artillery here. It's just not a good idea. You could go all the way to this right side, I guess, and get behind Saxony. But I don't see a need to do that. The coalition has given you this ground. I just plop a bunch of infantry on the crest along with some artillery, and just do as much damage to the coalition as you could. If Murat's corps comes over to this left flank, it could really support its allies here. The other option is to just give up this left flank if you're the Imperials altogether, because you could easily be overwhelmed on this side. You're cut off from the rest of your army as it is right now. It may just be a better option to retreat and head towards the center, and then maybe have some armies shift to the right side of this this creek here, or river. I mean, I don't know what you want to call it, but this body of water. Hit Saxony in the flank. That way, you can pin them in place if you really wanted to by moving some infantry up here and then outflank them on the right side. And then they wouldn't be able to bear their guns on you as much. Or if they turn their guns to hit the flank, well, then you push up your infantry into Saxony. And if Prussia actually comes over to the center to take on France on this far left side, you could actually hit this flank as well. Because Russia, Gorchakov would be separated from Prussia at that point. But there's a few things that you could do here. But it's going to be up to the Imperials to make the moves, figure out what they're going to do, because it doesn't look like at least the center section with Prussia is interested in outmaneuvering or going anywhere. It does look like Russia's going to be the bold one, I guess, for the coalition. And they're doing a good job here pushing France back. Well done on them. They can continue to pursue. Good on Russia for a cav charge here. Are they going to be able to catch this infantry? Unfortunately, no. They were able to form square. They might actually pay a little bit for this cav charge from this unit, but at least they were able to delay. Now would be a good time. Oh, they're taking a lot of hits. Need to get these cav out of here. Get these dragoons out of here. Stop getting fire. Stop taking fire from them. Russia could charge in their infantry if they wanted to. And then once the infantry was engaged, now would be an excellent time to cav charge this retreating unit. Have either be forced to form square, or would or at very least this infantry would take it. But it looks like they're just going to get cav charged here. It's going to be a little bit difficult for Russia because they are getting shot in the flank. But Russia and Prussia have done a good job here getting their cavalry on the flank. This unit's going to be able to form square. They're going to want to move their cav out of there. Continue to push against. Probably should have just gone. Continue to go around. Hit this grenadier unit. And which it actually looks like some Russian cav were trying to do. They should turn this cav around to face this hussar unit. Looks like these cav charges are getting a little uncoordinated, unfortunately. And this is what I feared with this this flanking movement, or this maneuver from France here, was that they were going to get cut off from the rest of the army and surrounded, which is why I suggested moving Murat over to this side. I noticed this massive cavalry from Prussia and Russia coming up. They at least needed some cav support if they were going to try and hold this side. And now Prussia's going in for a charge on this line here. They're going to be able to rout this infantry unit along with this one up here. Russia can just throw its infantry into a cav charge against these skirmisher units. It's not going to be too much of a problem to rout these guys. France should turn these units, start firing into the side of Russia here. Good job on them. you know, retreat if you can, guys, but unfortunately it doesn't look like they're going to be able to, and they're probably just going to square up anything they can or throw whatever they've got left into the fight here. Meanwhile, it's quiet in the center. This is could be a potential mistake. There are some chasseurs à cheval here to guard this unit. Unfortunately, there's not really an infantry near it. So a good cav charge down the center could take out these guns. But it looks like the Imperials are going for a cav charge of their own. Nope, they're just pushing up. Just trying to threaten some infantry units. Prussia's actually separated here. There's a nice gap right here, which France could throw its infantry into. They could also throw some infantry into this now that Russia's retreated its cav. And it looks like that's what they're going for. And they're going to follow up with maybe a bayonet charge from the infantry here. And they're going to follow up again with another cav charge on this separated Hohenlohe's units. Well done. This is an excellent move. This is exactly what I like to see. Taking advantage of opportunities that present themselves. Russia put its cav way too far away. It didn't want to get hit by that artillery that was plopped in the middle of the lines. Here comes some more cav charging. Musket fire going off. Retreating Prussian units here. France is moving up some more infantry. And it looks like France is also attacking in the center. Saxony moved its infantry back a little bit premature. He had an opportunity to take some shots with France trying to cross the creek here. And this artillery is way too close. It's gonna be taken over pretty quickly. It's just a single gun. It's not going to be enough damage to hold back or even really impact the French lines. It was mispositioned. If anything, it should have been placed in the town where it had cover or farther back in the line. Maybe even joining this battery right here. And now, Saxony, you're giving up the best. Saxony has just given up the best position. It's going to allow France to push up so far that it's going to be on even territory. And Saxony's infantry is probably not going to be good enough to take on this French advance. There's a nice artillery hit right here. On this line unit. Again, I don't like to see these guns in formation with the lines. They need to be a little bit behind if you can. There's all this cav here that's going to be able to be pushed up. And the French players doing exactly what you need to do when you're going through a crossing. You push up quickly. And if you've got any reserves, they need to follow up as soon as possible. And they need to go wherever they're needed, or they need to go fill up some more space that hasn't been covered, like this right side. This is what a lot of players, especially new players, fail to do when they're trying to take beachheads, when they're trying to go through crossings, when they're trying to take narrow areas that widen. You need to get everything through as quickly as possible. And you need to give space for whoever's following you through that to move out their armies, go on your left, or support wherever they're needed. Or I'm sorry, go on your flanks or support wherever they're needed. Now this unit should be changed to canister shot if it hasn't already been. It also needs to be limbered up, and they need to move this back. They need to move it back, cover the retreat of this artillery right here. It's too darn close. One cav charge right here could take this. And it looks like France has been able to roll up Prussia on this right side. Everything... If you're going to defeat France on this side with your artillery, it needs to be preserved as best as possible. It needs to be in excellent positions. Russia needs to retreat from this side. It needs to do its best to make a stand at this house against this enveloping and encroaching French army. The other option is for maybe send a unit to delay France on this side. Move your artillery on this side to this section and just create a massive artillery battery against this French position. Unfortunately, it's not happening. Saxony is just keeping its artillery here. You can see it wavering already. Like I said, a good cav charge, even an infantry charge at this point is going to be enough to get rid of this. And I just hate to see these things. Saxony, I mean, I understand when retreating, sometimes it's necessary to give up the ground in order to keep your army intact. But Saxony's best hope of getting rid of France is going to be either the massive artillery battery. And here we go. This is exactly what I talk about. Exactly what I talk about. This cav charge is enough to hit this line. It's enough to touch these guns so that they rout. France is going to push up their infantry, which is probably going to be enough to get these guns. They're going to get the local superiority, at least on this line infantry unit. This French cav is routing Saxony. Some more cav here into the lines. Saxony wasn't able to put its cav into the fight, which is probably where it was needed most, rather than on this chasing down these units on the other side. Not a good move. The other option, Saxony could have continued to fall back to allow Russia on this side to come and support it. It is more important to give up the ground than to lose your army in a standoff if you've got another reinforcing army. This was an unnecessary defeat for Saxony. At very least, if it was going to hold its ground, the crest here, this side of the ridge was probably going to be the best position. Get the French while they cross, and then hold the ground while they have the height advantage. Unfortunately, that's not what they chose to do. If you're going to give up the ground like they did, you need to continually fall back to keep your army intact. That's the only viable option if you're just going to give up the ground. Russia going for a cav charge on this French unit. Can't form square. Are they going to be able to break it? Well done. Well done. They need to go in for another charge on this unit right now. Otherwise, it could potentially turn and fire a volley on them. Excellent job. Take this unit, get into a bayonet charge on this French unit. It'll probably rout. Be careful here. If I was Russia right now, I'd be moving up this infantry to support this charge. Unfortunately, his cav routed. But I wouldn't retreat in this scenario. I'd be pushing up this infantry if you can to support the charge. Saxony should have committed against this unit. It's lost its opportunity for the support to sandwich this unit, and Russia could have actually gotten some excellent flanking fire on this unit. Unfortunately, they just were too afraid. You lost an excellent opportunity here to get some damage on this French advance now that your ally's gone. Looks like there's still some Prussian units left. France on this side might have pushed its luck a little too much. Might have pushed too hard. Might have. I don't like, as I always say, I don't like fighting by houses whatsoever because you just take unnecessary fire, and you can't just do. Most of the time, you can't do enough damage in order to rout the units in the houses unless you've got artillery supporting you. So I guess what's left of Saxony is some cav units here. They pretty much lost all their infantry. We'll see if it comes down to a cav battle. But it looks like France might have pressed too hard. Now they're getting completely surrounded. There's charges coming in from Russia on both sides, on two sides here. If Saxony decided to push its cav in here, it could easily get rid of and surround this French infantry. And here I was thinking that France had the upper hand. It looks like even though they managed to defeat Saxony, they just pushed too hard, lost too much, and looks like they're on the defensive, about to be completely surrounded. France is extremely disorganized. He needs to get his troops in a nice aligned formation so he can at least have a chance of taking on this incoming infantry. France should be able to win an aligned battle against Russia on this flank. If you're Russia on this side, your job is just to hold this flank to give time for your armies on the left to be able to defeat France on this side. If France decides to shift over and support its units on the side, well, then you can get some excellent flanking fire on France. Russia's going in for a bayonet charge. I think this is going to really hurt France. There's only 24 men in this unit, and they're exhausted. I'm surprised they didn't break earlier. France is going in for a counter bayonet charge against Russia. Saxony, I don't know if you have any more cav left, but it would certainly be helpful for your allies. Okay, here we go. He brought him back around. Russia should link up with the Saxony cav, and they should make a good push here. The other option is to fall completely back to the two-pointer. France has to take it if they want the LOC win. And I don't think France has any artillery left. I don't think either side has any artillery left. And it does look like coalition is falling back to town here, which is an excellent idea. I think this unit is in square. It's kind of a messy square. Guys, got to be careful. Could lose some cav to the square. All right, good job on Russia here getting its getting this line unit to go after this square formation. Well done. Yeah, don't sacrifice your cav in that scenario if you don't have to. It looks like there was a little bit of a looks like this unit might have been routed, but it was returning. Now it looks like Coalition is just trying to reform. France is probably figuring out where it wants to go, how it wants to attack. Because if they attack Russia, even if they manage to rout all of the units outside of the house, they're still going to need enough men to get into the building at the end of the match. And they just don't have much left. The best advice I can give France at this point is to well, to just shoot. They're going to want to take this match and they're going to want to force this into a shooting match versus a melee combat because Russia would probably win in that scenario. Also, if they get in melee combat, the coalition could send in their cav and force, and then France would not be able to form square in that scenario if they're already engaged in melee combat, and they'll end up routing pretty quickly. Maybe even with the cav support that they have left. But it doesn't look like France really has enough cav to make an impact. I think if Russia pushed up its infantry to take these guys, to these two units right here, Russia and Saxony just pushed up its cav around this line and just forced an engagement, I don't think there's much France could do about it. And I don't think that they would last, even with their general unit there. Russia is falling back on the side. It looks like that, well, maybe they were feigning a retreat, which I was going to not suggest. You want to keep these guys here close to the crossing as you possibly could to threaten the flank. Here we go. We've got some more line battles. I think France's best hope is going to be a good line shootout here against Russia. And hopefully France doesn't take too many casualties in the process, that they don't run out of steam on their assault. Russia doing an excellent job here getting the local superiority on this French unit. Local superiority meaning just that they've got more men. This is three units facing one unit of France, so you're going to be able to put more fire down on them. And you see these, a lot of times you don't even have to engage in order to be effective in this game. You see there's just 3 line units from Russia. They're not engaged, while the rest of his teammates' line engages. And you can see what I was talking about, the shootouts here. Look at the morale of this unit. It's dropping. It's at about half strength. Even though there's, you know, the superiority is on the left flank of the coalition. They're dwindling these units down. France is going in, looks like, for a charge here against Prussia. He might be able to get Prussia to retreat here. And the problem is, there's still this house. Any charge here is going to be in a hard spot because of this house. They're going to be taking fire which they can't return. And if you see on this side, once they sacrifice their cav for a charge on Prussia, it's like sharks circling prey. They just went in. All the coalition cav just went in behind the French line. Was able to just destroy it. And this is what I was talking about. The hope. If France had hope, it was going to be in the line battle shooting. It wasn't going to be in melee combat of any kind. France's cav was the only thing that was holding back this huge coalition cav force. And once that was gone, it was game over. It looks like France is just charging in what it has left of its infantry. And looks like this is going to be the final unit to break here at the end of this match. So well done, actually, on the coalition. I actually thought that because Saxony was gone, Saxony routed, that the coalition was losing. I had forgotten that Russia had rolled up the left, very far left side of France initially in the battle. And I had assumed that it was going to cost the coalition giving up the ground at the very beginning of the match, but they pulled through. So well done for the coalition. This match was sent in by Paranoid through the Discord. So thank you for that. And at the end of this here, I'll go ahead through the kill list for you. The first player for the coalition today was Zappa. He was playing a Russian corps. I apologize. I'm not sure which corps he was playing. And he had a total of 1,020 kills. Terminus Esther A was playing as Saxony, and he had 1,233. The Smasher was playing as the other Russian corps army, and he had 1,449 kills. Paranoid was playing as the only one I remember, which is Hohenlohe, which is a Prussian faction, and he had 1,073 kills. Looks like Sten was playing as Murat for the Imperial faction today. He had 1,359 kills. Looks like Lands Corps was commanded by Graf de Generat, who had 1,180 kills. Ney was commanded by Jean-Baptiste Bernadotte, and he had 710 kills. And Soult was commanded by Lesevre, or Lise. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but he had 1,348 kills. And I'll go down the kill list here for you. This was the Hohenlohe Corps, which was Prussia. And top unit here had 355 kills. Looks like it was a Cuirassier, a heavy cav unit. Well done. I'll go through the rest of the list here. All right, thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. Don't forget to sign up for the tournament.